When Princess Diana stepped into public life, the world believed it was witnessing the start of a modern fairy tale. On July 29, 1981, inside St. Paul's Cathedral, she walked down the aisle toward Prince Charles, wrapped in elegance, watched by millions who believed in the promise of a perfect union. But behind the spectacle, something far quieter and far more unsettling was already unfolding. Diana later revealed that as she walked forward, she wasn't focused on her future husband, but searching the crowd for Camilla Parker Bowles. That single moment captured everything that would follow. Even before vows were exchanged, the shadow of another relationship lingered, unspoken yet undeniable. The fairy tale hadn't just cracked, it had begun with a fracture. As the ceremony ended and celebrations began, the reality remained unchanged. Camilla's presence, though subtle, was significant. Diana understood what it meant, even then. The marriage she had entered with hope was already complicated by loyalty, tradition, and something she could neither control nor fully confront. Yet, inside the royal system, emotion rarely had space to breathe. Diana, young and unprepared for its rigidity, found herself surrounded not by support, but by expectation. When she discovered the bracelet Charles had gifted Camilla, engraved with private initials, the truth became harder to ignore. This wasn't a passing connection. It was something rooted deeper than she had been led to believe. Attempts to seek help only reinforced her isolation. Conversations with those around her led nowhere, often ending with quiet dismissals or polite deflections. Even remarks attributed to Prince Philip suggested that such arrangements were not uncommon within royal circles. Tradition, it seemed, had its own rules that did not favor her. As years passed, Diana's suspicions hardened into certainty. When she confronted Charles, his response was not denial, but justification. He framed his actions within history, within expectation, within a system that normalized what she experienced as betrayal. And in that moment, Diana understood something crucial. This was not just about marriage. It was about the institution itself. Left with few options, she turned to the one figure who held undeniable authority, Queen Elizabeth II. Approaching the Queen was not simply a family matter. It was a step into the core of the monarchy. Diana brought with her not just pain, but hope that authority might bring resolution. What she encountered instead was something far more complex. The Queen listened. She did not dismiss Diana outright, nor did she offer the emotional reassurance Diana desperately needed. Their differences were profound. Elizabeth, shaped by duty and discipline. Diana, driven by feeling and authenticity. Two women, bound by the same institution, yet separated by how they understood it. During private conversations, the Queen made her position clear. Camilla, she suggested, was not a temporary presence. The bond between her and Charles was enduring, unlikely to fade. The message was not delivered with cruelty, but with a kind of restrained realism. It was not comfort, it was warning. The advice that followed reflected the Queen's worldview: maintain composure, protect the institution, and continue fulfilling royal duty. Personal happiness was not the priority. Stability was, appearance was, continuity was. Diana left that conversation not reassured, but awakened. The answer she had hoped for did not exist, and somewhere within that realization, a different response began to form. While the Queen urged patience, Diana chose something entirely different. By the late 1980s, silence had become unbearable. The internal conflict she carried could no longer remain hidden behind public smiles and carefully managed appearances. At a private gathering, Diana made an unexpected decision to confront Camilla directly. There was no dramatic outburst, no loss of control. Instead, there was calm, deliberate honesty. She acknowledged what had long been denied, bringing into the open what everyone already knew but refused to say. Camilla's response was composed, even dismissive. The exchange revealed more than words. It exposed the balance of power, the emotional distance, and the quiet acceptance of a situation that Diana could not accept. Years later, during her interview on BBC Panorama, Diana would deliver a line that echoed across the world. "There were three of us in this marriage." It sounded like accusation, but it was more than that. It was recognition of complexity, of truth, of something that could not be simplified into blame alone. Privately, her perspective shifted even further. In conversations near the end of her life, she suggested something few expected, that the real issue was not Camilla, but the system surrounding Charles. The structure, the expectations, the environment that shaped decisions long before she entered the picture. It was a response not driven by anger, but by understanding. Time has a way of reshaping narratives. What once appeared as a simple story of betrayal gradually revealed itself as something far more layered. Diana Diana, often seen only as the wronged figure, began to emerge as someone who recognized the deeper forces at play. The monarchy, built on continuity and control, struggled to contain someone as open and emotionally expressive as Diana. She challenged not just individuals, but the system itself, its priorities, its silence, its expectations. The Queen, often perceived as distant, acted within the boundaries she had always known. Duty guided her decisions, even when those decisions came at a personal cost. Charles, shaped by tradition, followed a path that had long been set before him, and Diana, she saw it. Not immediately, not without pain, but eventually with clarity. Her final reflections suggest a shift away from personal blame toward institutional understanding. The problem, she realized, was never just one person. It was the structure that allowed everything to unfold as it did. In the end, the warning she received was not wrong, but it was incomplete, and her response, quiet yet powerful, revealed a truth that still lingers. Sometimes the story is not about the people within it, but the system that shapes them all.